Hey, welcome back at the Trigger, Rich Bontrager. We're doing a special Sunday live streaming edition, and it's so special. We are going to have an amazing, wonderful lady on here who's doing astonishing things with other ladies, and it's all about authorship, women empowerment. What more do you want than that at the middle of a Sunday afternoon, right? We're going to get into the Women Gone Wild book series, and the one and only Rhonda Swan is going to join me in a minute. The book tour is underway. The book tour is well underway from what I understand. They're having a great time. In fact, I know there was a little bit of late night party action going on last night, I believe. I may have saw that. So without any further ado, let me introduce you here to a second to Rhonda Swan. If you don't know her, she's the founder and the visionary force behind the impactful Women Gone Wild book series. It's acclaimed by Forbes magazine as the chicken soup for women's empowerment. And remember, Chicken Soup with a Soul. Those books were hot. They were great. Everyone bought them. Everyone read them. Rhonda is the founder of the Unstoppable Branding Company and has become a beacon of women's empowerment, diversity, and leadership through her dedication to amplifying women's voices and stories. And if I say any more, she's going to jump through the screen, grab the microphone, and take over. Rhonda, I'm going to bring you in now. How are you doing?
I'm amazing, Rich. Thank you so much. I'm great. I'm in New York City right now. And we've kicked off. Last night, we had a big, beautiful Italian dinner to get everything ready. We previewed the billboards, and we're ready to rock and roll. It's wild.
Well, and I did see a little video clip of all you with lined up with videos, all looking out the same window. What were you looking at? What was that?
Yeah, well, we did a really special preview last night. We have the largest billboard in Times Square on 47th and 7th. And so I brought everyone in and I secretively blasted the big video up for them. So they got to see our book. We just got to finally touch our books. It's in bookstores now. And we were on the billboard last night as a preview, but we've got so much planned this week.
That's fantastic. By the way, if you're streaming along with us today, we are on Facebook, we are on YouTube, we are on LinkedIn, and I don't know where else we're at, but we're there. Drop in, ask questions, say hi to Rhonda. And if you don't know who she is, again, this is a special. This June 24th, this month, they are having a significant milestone as they launch the latest in the 4-part book series. That's what we're talking about here. Then these books cover wealth, intuition, leadership, and diversity. And this one right now is all about intuition, which I'm really interested in knowing about, Rhonda.
Yeah, it's
people
really,
joke a lot about intuition, right? But people joke about it, but is it real?
Well, that's the thing, when this book series came out, I literally had a near-death experience, and I was visited by literally a panel of spirits of women that were witches. Women had burned at the stake, and those that had suppressed voices, they're like, "We want more from you." And I'm like, "Wait a minute, I share my voice. I do so much right now." They're like, "No, we want more." And I got the chance to come back. It was during COVID, and I literally almost didn't wake up. And so what happened is the vision came from, how do I take voices of other women and bring them together to not only align with not only their stories, but also help inspire more women, next generations. And so WILD, like you mentioned, is wealth, intuition, leadership, and diversity. And the wealth book was more about redefining wealth. That launched last year. It was like redefining the meaning, not just about money, but redefining what is it that we enrich our lives with that means wealth to us. And intuition is really more of that call to action of not only just women, but all of us to say, is intuition real? Like, what is it that we feel when we get these messages, right? It's not for airy fairy. It's like, there's a gut. Some of us feel it in our gut. Some of us feel it in our heart. And most of us ignore it with our logic. And so what each of these stories have been about women that have literally not only used intuition or ignored it, like myself. Mine's more of, how do we weave and listen to the gut and not the logic, and allow the logic to take over.
Well, and that's what most of us do. That's why it's kind of that woo type thing, or it's a running joke that no one believes in. But if you listen to people and their stories, which is what you're doing, there's a lot of truth in this. So there is something going on, whether your spirit, your soul, your gut, whatever you want to call it, something is going on that's saying, hey, pay attention, do this. Now, I know you have 25 different authors, including you, in one book, correct?
Yeah, that's right. So we do it a lot differently. There's obviously many have heard of collaboration books. However,
Yep.
what we've done is because Diana Wentworth is from Chicken Soup for the Soul, and she was the first. She wrote the foreword for the very first book. She wrote a chapter in Wealth, and now she's written the foreword for Intuition. And what we decided to do is take 25 women's stories and amplify them, not only allowing them to share their story, what their vision is for this theme, but because I own a PR and branding firm, I've been a publicist for 18 years. I've taken all year, a whole year, and I build their personal brand. We publish them PR, media, and then we culminate it at our book tour, which right now we're in New York City, billboards,
Yep.
TV, media, Pix 11. We're going to be at Barnes & Noble. Then we go to Florida. Then we go to LA. So a whole month. We build this each of their brands so that when this book launches, not only are all of our ladies seen as rock stars as they are, but now their stories are even more amplified.
So before we jump past Diana Wentworth, for those that follow Rock the Stage show, she was a stellar guest on the show. Then she introduced me to Rhonda, and now we're all mixed up, playing out, having a good time together, aren't we, Rhonda?
I love it. It's beautiful. Yeah. And Diana's been kind of a cornerstone, like kind of our wisdom keeper, right? Of so much that comes forward from this book, especially with Chicken Soup, 589 million copies. Our goal for our series is to reach, if not exceed, Chicken Soup. And by the diversity book, is I want to have 80,000 women in a Coliseum sharing their wild stories. I want to have Christina Aguilera, Pink, Adele, Beyonce singing on stages. Like, that's my vision for this. So I'm putting it out in the ether every time I speak about it. So if somebody hears this, help me make it happen.
Big, hairy, audacious goals, and she's putting it out there, everybody. There we go. BHAGs. I love them.
That's
Now,
it.
you are on tour, and you are in the New York, New Jersey area, right? You'll be at Barnes & Noble's in New Jersey on the 11th, right?
Well, right now in 1 hour, we'll be at Fifth Avenue. We're going to sign there. And then we will be, like you mentioned, we'll be on the Wake Up with Marcy show, who's a big TV show here in New York. It's a morning show. We'll be on Pix 11 in New York City. All of us are being interviewed. And then we will be in Jersey on the 11th doing a book. So anyone that's in Jersey or New York, come and see us. Starts at 3:00 in Union in Jersey.
Now, that's going to be at the Barnes & Nobles. And just so everyone else knows, we have an extra packed day coming up on June 18th, because June 18th, you're going to be in Sarasota, Florida, continuing your USA tour. And we're going to have a launch party in the middle of the day right here. Ron and I will be back. But we're also going to beam in several of these amazing women authors to celebrate with a book launch party. And then at night, you're at the Siesta Key Wine and Bar, pushing out the book again.
That's right. We have
That's going to be a big day.
Party. It's literally this morning. We've been up since 9 a.m. Billboards. Now we come today, Barnes & Noble, Pix 11, and then we're back to a big rooftop party. So there's like 4 or 5 things every day. But in Siesta Key, like you mentioned, on the 18th, it's going to be beautiful. It's also a charity event for 40 Carats, which supports women and children locally in Sarasota, Florida. We're having unbelievable silent auction. The women will speak, book signing, wine, food, all the fun stuff. That's at 7:00 at Siesta Key Wine Bar on the 18th in Sarasota, Florida.
Now, again, we are going to do a middle of the day live stream event, 90 minutes.
Yep.
Ron and I will kick it off, and then we are going to have Diana Wentworth. We are going to have others of the authors beam on in. But since you have 25 amazing ones, we got to squeeze as many as we can, have them talk real fast, have a good time, promote the book, and there will be a link for that to get the book, and we're all going to have that come up here in a few minutes too. But what do you think about beaming around and having a big party? Did you ever think you'd be doing something crazy like that?
Well, it's kind of part of my jam. And just so everyone knows, I have not been home. I live in Bali, Indonesia. I've not been home since January 6th. I have been in every country, every city, because I also know that especially when we're launching books, it's us. We create the demand. The more energy, the more excitement we've got. So I'm just going for it. So that's what we've been doing. We're in bookstores all over the world: Barnes & Noble, Walmart, Target, Foyles. Like if you're in the UK, if you're in Amsterdam, it's everywhere. You just have to call and ask them for it, or walk in the store and they're there. And in order for us to do that, they've got to know how much we care about the message and create the demand. So Yeah, right now it's like stop New York, then Florida, then LA. But
Well, LA,
yeah,
you're gonna be back at Barnes and Nobles.
that's
No,
it.
hang on here for a second. Let me get this right. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
good.
you'll be at the Barnes and Noble at the Grove in Los
Bro, yeah,
Angeles.
that's it.
That's gonna be another rocking couple days.
Guys, this one's going to be amazing because I don't know if you've been to the Grove, but the Grove is super sexy and it's really beautiful. So they have a huge setup for us. There's going to be all the authors are going to share a bit about what their chapter is about. We'll have about 100 people there. I'd love to have people join us at the Grove. We're also doing a wellness event on the 22nd at Void Studios, which is the tallest building in all of Los Angeles. And it's a wellness center. And they've created this high frequency wellness center to help beam out high frequency energy throughout all of LA. So we'll be there on the 22nd and, of course, on the 26th at the Grove.
So we also need to brag a little bit on you. So this helps people go to your branding agency, but some people may not know you. Amazing that may sound, Rhonda. Some people might not know who the heck is Rhonda.
Well, I've been in business for 18 years. Who am I as a person? I'm a mother. I'm a loyal and dedicated wife of 26 years. My family started traveling 17 years ago. I met my husband surfing in San Diego, and in 07, 08, we lost everything in the financial crisis in real estate. And I had already though started building my company online, and this was before social media. And so our branding agency completely took off because we were the first company that took everyone in 2003 completely online. And from 08 until now, we've been helping build brands and share message and stories for others through PR and media and building their brand online. And yeah, so that's now become my thing, our unstoppable family. We've lived in 52 countries, 7 continents. And Women Gone Wild became more of, like I said, that passion project that came from me having a near-death experience. And now I get to use what I do in PR and media and bring it into what we do for our book, elevate brands, share more stories, get better, beautiful, conscious storylines into the world.
Now, this is the book right here, the new Intuition book. Hit the QR code, check it out. What made you pick this topic? Then how did you get so many different women to come together and say, here's a theme, now share your wisdom? How did you do that?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's, women that are willing and ready to fully share their story. They know that they have, a passion or a story in them, and they want to be more visible, right? So visibility is everything. And we know that the more we share our stories, the more we tell what we're about, the better the world can be. So I bring and open up not only my wisdom in PR and media and say, look, let me help you build your brand. And then we'll culminate with you in a book. And so that we can not only help them build their businesses, their brand, but share their more of their stories. And it's pretty easy. The moment you open the doors and say, listen, if you're a woman that believes in attracting integral wealth, wants to listen into her intuition, stand in her leadership, and embrace diversity, you should be one of our authors. And they come by the fleet, and we do an interview process. We learn more about them to see if they're really willing and ready to move that message. And from that, they get a lot of PR media. Their businesses grow. They get on stages all over the world. They're in covers of magazines. Like this is also our Wild Mag. One of our authors, Jet, is on the cover of Wild magazine. We're going to be on Vogue, Cosmo, Marie Claire this year, Glamour magazine, because the more you share and get in front, now they're willing to listen, and now the world wants to hear it. So we're always looking for great leadership. We just opened for the leadership book that launches next year. So we have 10 more author spots open. So here you go.
10 more spots available for that. Okay. That's why you need to click those QR codes, scan those. We'll have them back in a few minutes again. You need to follow up and connect with Rhonda and her team. Now, you do have some amazing names, and I'm just going to throw out some first names. You've got Anna, you've got Lisa, you've got Kara, you've got Patty, you've got Penny, you've got Trisha, and Lady JB Owen.
Yes, she's a dear.
You've got quite a stable of ladies here.
Yeah.
Pick out one or two. Can you do just a quick tease of what one or two of these ladies have written about and what the book is kind of flavored like?
Yeah, well, Patty Negri is, she's the Ghost Adventures. She's on Netflix. She's on Discovery Channel. She's the star of Ghost Adventures. And she writes about the magic within the intuition and how do you use it to guide your life and listen into that magic, into that intuition. My chapter is more about, how I feel it in my gut, but oftentimes, because I'm a very logical thinker, I allow my logical thinking to step forward. So how do we feel that in our gut and follow it and not let the brain or head get inside of it? My daughter Hanalei she's also the head designer and art. She's done all the artwork in our book. My daughter has been in every one of our books. Rhonda Swan, and she's every one of these sections and the parts. She's the designer, and my daughter is written. She writes about how, as a young person, she's 17, started learning about what her intuition was for her and how it's guided her. And she started her first company when she was 11 years old, 6 figures at 12, New York and London Fashion Week at 13, and then retired at 15, right? Because it just wasn't aligned anymore, So it's like there's just packed full of unbelievable, not only stories, but details and lessons and ways to tap into your intuition.
So I'm curious, because you had this plan, that 4-book series. This is one of the titles you had previously laid out. Now that you've got all the material in, and now that you're actually doing this, what have you learned about intuition that you didn't know before after reading all their goodies they gave you?
Yeah, it's a really good one. Is that our intuition is our guidance counsel. We all have it. It's either a message, it's a feeling, and oftentimes the environment we're in foggies us so much that we don't listen. Right?
Yeah.
Right? Whether it's people, it's experiences. So stopping, taking time to not only meditate, but to connect to ourselves, to our source, whatever you want to call it, allow the messages to come in. Because being here in New York is fun, but it's, and I can imagine why most people in New York don't listen to their intuition, because there's too many things going on. So even after this, I'm going to take a 15-minute meditation. We go to Barnes & Noble in 30 minutes, just so I can feel in, listen, and be connected.
Well, just so everyone knows, she's so busy. I literally called her a few minutes and said, you're on in 5 minutes. And she goes, yes, I am. Be right there. That's how packed her schedule is. And we're squeezing these things in. And that's why we're doing the Big Book Launch Day, the 90-minute event on the 18th, right smack dab in the middle of the day. We're going to be in the middle of our day with a bunch of other ladies, and we're going to celebrate the book. We're going to have you hear from them. Again, the live chat will be open for multiple questions. And you'll be able to be a part of all of that to help make this all possible. So here again is the information you want to know about the Woman Gone Wild book. If you want, hit the QR code, get a hold of the book right now, because then when you hear us talk about it on the 18th, you'll be more inclined to understand what's going on. You'll understand why these ladies wrote what they wrote, and you'll be able to get greater insight on that. And again, if you want to learn more about Rhonda, who is now gallivanting off, already on her next part of the New York tour, here's more about the Unstoppable Brain Agency with Rhonda Swan. Learn more about that. Check into what she's doing. And again, this is just book 2 of a 4-book series, Women Gone Wild, Intuition. And again, they're out busy today, but we will be back here again. We will be going live on June 18th at noon Eastern time for a 90-minute special book launch event. And it's all going to be about this book, Women Gone Wild, Intuition. And there you are. See, she even took a breather. She had a rest. She was getting so excited. You were burning up the airways on me, weren't you?
Sorry about that.
So, no. You're juggling so many balls. We're just happy we could squeeze you into it like we planned, because I think it's going crazier than you even envisioned, isn't it?
It is.
This has really taken on a life of its own, hasn't it?
It really has, and it's very exciting. I mean, obviously, the more we talk about it now. Obviously, Forbes gives us this statement, and they called me and they said, "I've heard about this book. We want to write about it." And now, because of Diana, because of Chicken Soup, because of the way we've done it in short little stories, they're like, Chicken Soup and Women Empowerment, like, what do you want next? And that's why I keep sharing with everyone my bigger vision, because every time I share something bigger, everything that we do amplifies, and more attention keeps happening. And it's fun. This part's fun. However, the mission is so strong, because I was a corporate executive and women were not working together. We were not supporting each other. I mean, I was just crushing, stepping on shoulders of all the women to get to the top. And I had a realization. I have a daughter who's 17. And back then I was like, wait a minute, I can't be like this, So I made this drastic shift over 15 years ago when I quit corporate. And I'm like, how do we show it more? How do we move into a new era of creation?
So you touched on something briefly here, and I'm sure we're going to pick it back up on our live event again. But
Yeah.
you're admitting the corporate world, dog eat dog. We know it can be there, but
Yeah.
I've seen
Yeah.
it. I've been around it. For some reason, men were not off the hook here. By the way, when I say this, we're not off the hook,
Right.
guys. But
That's
women
right.
do seem to really go after it. It's like a hockey match with women inside corporate. They're bumping the walls against each other. It's a little bit more aggressive than even the men are, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. And I don't know why. There's been a lot of external, like this whole women having to step into the space and the old boys club. Like, hey, I'm in PR and media. It was old boys club. I was learning from the men. I learned from Perry Marshall. I became the first digital marketing woman to make $1 million with the funnel before it was a name, right? Back in 2003. But it was dudes. It was men, right? So the same thing I went from corporate, being a corporate executive, all men battling to be to the top, and all the women were doing the same because the dudes were like, hey, we're doing this together. Oh, you need to earn your keep. And it was like, this has to change, because obviously the more we work together, the better the world becomes. But women together, like we can create, right? Like we're magical, and we support the men so much. We're like, guys, take a little break. We got this. Let us shine a little bit.
Now, I do want to flip to the branding for a moment,
Yeah.
because you are a branding wizard.
Yeah.
I'm sure as you're with these ladies, especially now that you're traveling together, I'm sure you're just dropping branding bombs of fashion, of tips, of, how to pop off, how to say that little phrase to get a little bit more attention, how that had that meme work for you better. You're probably doing a lot of that, aren't you?
100%. And we have a formula, and it's really simple. I'll share it with everyone, because if you can nail your one thing that you do, like sound bites, and we say it's what you do and the desired outcome of your audience or your client. So for instance, what I do is I turn best kept secrets, that's what I do, into world renowned brands, right? So best kept secrets is what they are. I turn them into a world renowned brand. They want to become a world renowned brand. And I do that with PR and media, right? And so when we can say that, right, I tell women's stories and help them amplify their brand, right? So I create a platform to tell women's wild stories and amplify their brand, right? So they want amplification of their brand. I help them tell their stories to amplify their brand. So if you can nail that, right, of what it is, and that's the kind of things that we do, especially with TV and media. Like someone's like, this is what I'm about, this is what I love, and this is what I will do for you. Yeah. Now we got sound bites and we get microphones in our face. You're like, yeah, I'm about women empowerment. I'm about, sharing the world how to share your wild story. And so the moment, if you notice, the things that I speak are in my power, my key moments, I want to leave with the audience, because everyone deserves to know what we want, but they only hear what you want them to hear if you make sure it's deliberate.
Again, Rhonda Swan, she's kicking off this Women Gone Wild. Make sure you say it right too, because there is something out there that you don't want to say. Women
That's right.
Gone Wild.
It's a little polarizing.
Yeah, just a little bit of polarizing, but Women Gone Wild, intuition book. And again, I really love part of the promotional phrasing you did put in this. It's going to open your eyes and your soul to the power of listening to your internal compass. That's really what this is all about for this particular book, isn't it?
It sure is. And that's really, it's about reminding ourselves to tune in. Not to tune out. We tune out a lot. Tune in, listen to your inner compass, feel it, and know if there's a little sizzle, listen to that. Because a lot of times we'll ignore it and we just put it into our brain. I have to do this. Like, for instance, I'll give you a quick example before I go. Yeah. Today, we were going to a concert. I was in Las Vegas, my 51st birthday, my husband's 50th. We were going to a concert, and I went, I'm not going. And they were like, what? We've planned this. We've done it. I was like, something's up. We're not going. I got massively sick that night. Wow. But if I would have ignored it, I was already getting like some kind of a food poisoning, but something said, you know what? You're not going to enjoy yourself tonight. We had done 2 nights in a row. So I went the first night. So I wasn't like missing something altogether, but I went, I'm not going to go. Something's not right. And I got sick that night, and my body was already talking to me. I could have easily pushed it and felt horrible. Took care of myself. The next day I felt awesome. But like, that's just simple, right? But there's messages that say, don't go on that airplane. One of our women that tells the story, she was a stewardess, 9/11. She was supposed to be on that plane. That morning, something said, don't get on it. And she didn't get on that plane.
Wow.
That's
Okay,
intuition.
that's part of the reason you got to pick up this new book. You got to get a hold of it. Again, we're going to have the QR code coming up in a minute. I'm going to let Rhonda go in just a second here. But Rhonda's in the New York, New Jersey area right now, having a great time. The billboard's up. Everything is happening. And she will be at Barnes & Noble in New Jersey, Union, New Jersey, on June 11th. You want to go out there if you're in that New York, New Jersey area, you want to pack up the car, go have some fun and celebrate this amazing new book. And then it's on to Sarasota, and then you're out in Los Angeles. Travel safely, have fun, and we're going to see you on June 18th at noontime, live again for a full 90 minutes, Rhonda.
I'll see you then, my friend. Thanks, everyone.
All right. See you then, Rhonda. Thank you.
And we got to start the Barnes & Noble signing. See everyone. Thanks so much.
Rhonda Swan, again, she is the founder of the Women Gone Wild book series. And again, you do want to get a hold of this book, and we're going to put that back up here for you to see this. And you want to hit the QR code, get the book, and Women Gone Wild Intuition. You just heard it's all about women empowerment. It's about leadership, but this is traveling and following and listening to your gut to get the best life you can. So hit the QR code. They are in that New Jersey area. And then coming up on Tuesday, June 18th, we are going to have Rhonda back with a bunch of these authors. Many of these authors will be featured right here on a 90-minute live book launch party. They'll be in Sarasota, Florida, and that will be from noon to 1:30 p.m. Eastern time before their tour continues later on that night. And they'll be at that Barnes & Noble in Sarasota. And then if you're out in the Los Angeles area, you're going to want to go see them on Wednesday, June 26th, 7 p.m. in the evening. And that will be at Barnes & Noble at the Grove. So that's the Women Gone Wild Intuition book series, and you don't want to miss it. Join us then. Watch for promotional material coming out from Rock to Stage Media. And again, Rock to Stage Media is always giving authors, leaders, influencers a chance to be right here and do these live stream events to help promote what they're doing. They share their wisdom and expertise to help you shine on camera and shine on stage and elevate your brand. And Rhonda's crushing it. She got on a billboard, man. She's doing a great job, so you don't want to miss out. We'll be back on June 18th. Watch for it, and we'll find us on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, many other channels as well. Thanks for dropping in for a little bit of time here today on The Trigger, Rich Bontrager. We'll see you back here on the 18th of June for a wonderful time.